Good morning, it's 8 a.m. You're watching the breakfast news on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. 2 youth killed in violent clashes in Kashmir. Reports say army has launched Operation Calm Down to clear areas in South Kashmir of militants and sympathizers. India reacts sharply to UN High Commissioner for Human Rights statement on Kashmir situation, says terrorism is the grossest violation of human rights. Karnataka Chief Minister seeks time to meet Prime Minister Modi to discuss Kaveri water issue. Death toll in clashes rises to 2 after another youth succumbs to injury. Political blame game between Delhi government and centre after deaths due to chikungunya in national capital. 5 death reports in less than 24 hours. And India strikes gold at the Rio Paralympics again. Devendra Jajharia bags top spot in the men's javelin throw. Well, as tensions continue to simmer in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu over the Kaveri water sharing issue, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has sought time from the Prime Minister for a meeting. The Chief Minister is seeking intervention from the Prime Minister to bail out the state from the present crisis. Meanwhile, curfew remained in force in large parts of Karnataka, particularly Bengaluru, that witnessed incidents of arson and rioting. The death toll in Monday's violence has gone up to 2 after another youth who was injured in the clashes succumbed to his injuries.
Amid the escalating violence over the Kaveri water sharing in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made an emotional appeal to both states, asking them to resolve the issue peacefully. In a Twitter message, Modi appealed to the people of both states to maintain peace and display some sensitivity. Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu said the violence cannot be justified no matter how grave the matter is.
Such violence cannot be justified on any ground. Violence and destruction of property ultimately impacts the life of the common people. They will be the worst victims.
However, despite the appeals, sporadic protests continued in several districts of Karnataka. Pro-Kannada activists observed a shutdown in Mandya and Hubli. In Bengaluru, an uneasy calm prevailed after Monday's violence. Curfew remained in force in the city, while transport services to Tamil Nadu remained suspended. In view of the law and order situation in Karnataka, 700 riot control police personnel were rushed to the state on Tuesday. This was in addition to the 15,000 security personnel deployed in sensitive areas. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah also warned of stringent action against vandalism or attempts to disturb peace.
ಯಾರೇ ಆಗಲಿ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಕೈ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಬಾರದು. ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಆಸ್ತಿಪಾಸ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಾನಿ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಾರದು.
With the Kaveri water dispute taking an unprecedented turn, other political parties also urged the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu governments to find an amicable solution.
Our appeal is stop this rousing of emotions and passions. Stop pitting the people of Karnataka against the people of Tamil Nadu. And both the state governments must ensure that peace and normalcy is maintained.
I request the people of the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu people that whatever happened in Supreme Court and whatever the legal course, legal battle, we have to fight it, and we should not take law into our hands.
The main concern is the law and order situation, and also the normals to be restored. None of the citizens, no section of the people should feel in Karnataka that they are not safe. Their lives and properties will have to be saved.
Supreme Court in its wisdom has given a verdict on which there can be differences, but mob violence is not the way to resolve it. You are harming public property, resorting to arson and violence, which can lead to loss of life even. I think the first thing is the strictest steps taken for the enforcement of law and order and normalcy.
Tensions over Kaveri water sharing have been escalating between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu for several weeks. However, it took an ugly turn on Monday when citizens of both states were attacked in each other's territory. Both states have also seen widespread violence with huge damage to public property. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, now to the national capital, where yet another political blame game is on, this time over the deaths of 5 people due to chikungunya. Over 27,000 cases of the dreaded disease have been reported all over the country, while 12,000 cases of dengue have been reported till last month. Now, the state government and the centre are passing the buck of responsibility for handling the health scare. The AAP government has ordered a probe into the chikungunya deaths reported in the last 2 days.
With 5 deaths caused by chikungunya in less than 24 hours, the national capital seems to be in the grip of mosquito-borne viral diseases. Health Ministry stepped up measures to control the outbreak and has appealed to the public not to create a panic situation.
अपने मंत्रालय में भी बुला करके दिल्ली के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री और दिल्ली के एमसीडीज एनडीएमसी सबके अधिकारियों को बुला करके हमने समय पर रहते बताया था कि इसके सारे प्रोटोकॉल्स को फॉलो किए जाएं और इनको सारे प्रोटोकॉल्स की गाइडलाइंस की और हॉस्पिटल में बेड्स की व्यवस्था, डॉक्टर्स की ट्रेनिंग, ये सारी की सारी माकूल की गई है। इस समय तो सिर्फ इतना ही कहूँगा कि चाहे डेंगू हो चाहे चिकनगुनिया हो, हम पैनिक ना करें।
पर हमने इस सिचुएशन को डील करने के लिए एक तो फीवर क्लिनिक बनाया जहाँ एक्स्ट्रा मैन पावर एम्प्लॉय की है। ऑलमोस्ट 30 ट्रॉलीज फालतू लगाई हैं जो इन लोगों को केयर कर सकती हैं। तो जितना हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं जितने पेशेंट आए उनको कुछ न कुछ उनको काउंसिल कर सकें।
On Monday, 65-year-old Ramendra Pandey became the first victim to die of chikungunya at the Sargangaram hospital. The other 2 deaths also took place in the same hospital. Both victims were also aged above 60 years. Although chikungunya is not life-threatening, complications prove fatal in rare cases, especially in children and old persons.
चिकनगुनिया एज ए होल इससे डेथ्स बहुत कम है अनलेस इसके अंडरलाइंग कोई ना कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है। अंडरलाइंग जैसे कि एक तो एक्सट्रीम ऑफ एजेस, जैसे कि एल्डरली 60 ईयर के बाद के होते हैं। हमारे जितने भी डेथ्स हुई हैं तीनों पेशेंट मोर देन 60 ईयर थे। नंबर 2, उनमें कोई और भी ऐसे डेबिलिटेटिंग डिजीजेज होती है जैसे कि डायबिटीज, हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, ब्रोंकियल अस्थमा और बाकी कोई ना कोई ऐसे ऑर्गन फेलियर हो जाता है।
A blame game has emerged over the chikungunya deaths between the state and the central government. The BJP-led central government has blamed the absence of key ministers for the situation, while the Aam Aadmi Party government is accusing the LG and central government.
जहाँ तक चिकनगुनिया और डेंगू को रोकथाम की बात है, वो पूरी की पूरी जिम्मेदारी कॉरपोरेशंस की है। दिल्ली के अंदर सफाई की जिम्मेदारी कॉरपोरेशंस की है। उन्होंने कोई काम नहीं किया, अभी भी नहीं किया और कर भी नहीं रहे हैं।
बीमारी के बाद भी दिल्ली सरकार ने हमारे में से किसी एक को कॉल नहीं किया, ना बुलाया, ना सलाह के लिए। हमने जरूर कहा है कि परसों 17 से हम आपके पास बात करना चाहते हैं इस बारे में, टाइम हमें नहीं दिया।
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का कहना कि वो 10 रुपए का खर्च भी नहीं कर सकते हैं। अरे 1 करोड़ का समोसा आपने खर्च कर दिया, 526 करोड़ अपने एडवर्टाइजमेंट पे खर्च कर रहे हैं, और अगर कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं तो आप रिजाइन क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल गैर जिम्मेदारी और बेपरवाही है सरकार की, क्योंकि हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट जो है वो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ दिल्ली का है, तो उन्हें ये सब चीज़ों पर देखना चाहिए। जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? जिम्मेदारी तो सरकार की होती है ना। जिम्मेदारी को ही आप ना निभाएं तो फिर आप सरकार किस काम की?
According to a municipal report, at least 1,057 cases of the vector-borne disease have been recorded till first week of September. However, hospitals in the city have reported a much higher number. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, tension continues across the Kashmir Valley amid strict curfew across Kashmir on Eid. 2 youths were killed and nearly 40 people were injured during fresh clashes. With these deaths, the toll in the ongoing unrest has gone up to 78. According to reports, the army has quietly launched Operation Calm Down to clear areas in South Kashmir of militants and their sympathizers.
Tensions continue to mount in the entire Kashmir Valley as the state enters its 67th day of lockdown. 2 people were killed and scores injured in fresh clashes across Kashmir after morning prayers for Eid on Tuesday. 1 death was reported during clashes with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Bandipora district. The incident took place when a group of protesters started pelting stones at security forces who retaliated by firing tear gas shells that hit a protester. In Shopian, the killing took place when violent clashes broke out in Bona Bazar when people tried to defy curfew restrictions. Many people were also injured in the clashes. Clashes were also reported from Bijbehara, Tral, Kulgam, Bandipur and Baramulla districts.
वहाँ पर जिस तरह से लोग परेशान हैं, जिस तरह से लोग इन मुट्ठी भर लोगों की इन हरकतों की वजह से उनका सामान्य जनजीवन व्यस्त हो गया है, अस्त व्यस्त हुआ है, उससे जो है वो निश्चित तौर से सुरक्षा बल जो है वो लोगों की हिफाजत के लिए हैं और ऐसी ताकतें जो ताकतें कि लोगों की सुरक्षा के लिए खतरा बनी हुई हैं उनको कंट्रोल करने के लिए हैं.
Eid celebrations remain subdued in the entire valley as authorities clamped curfew in all 10 districts of the valley for the first time in decades. No major Eid congregation was allowed anywhere. People were asked to offer prayers at local mosques. Helicopters and drones were pressed into service for surveillance. Restrictions were imposed on the assembly of large number of people in view of the call by separatists for a march to the local offices of the United Nations. The army, which is on standby, will step in if there is fresh outbreak of violence in the valley.
Usually associated with Afghanistan. Drones are associated with the FATA area of Pakistan. Drones are associated with South Waziristan and North Waziristan in Pakistan. This is perhaps for the first time that the word drone in a security context has figured in the Indian narrative. And this is possibly the biggest failure of this government.
Both the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the government there and at the center must introspect. This may be essential this year to have such strong measures to ensure that nobody uses the festival as a pretext to instigate violence.
Internet mobile services were suspended because of the tense law and order situation in the state. Kashmir plunged into unrest on July 8 following the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen militant Burhan Wani. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the 3-day-long encounter between the security forces and terrorists in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir ended on Monday. 4 militants were killed in the encounter that started at around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. The terrorists took shelter in the 2 buildings and were responding to the fire from the security forces. A policeman was also killed in the initial firing by the militants before they entered the mini secretariat. 2 security personnel were injured in the attack. AK rifles and a large quantity of ammunition have been recovered from them. The police claimed that the militants wanted to disturb peace in the border district.
बस अभी ये ऑपरेशन क्लोज हुआ है और उसके बाद अभी हम पूरा क्लोज नहीं करेंगे, हम अभी सैनिटाइज करेंगे बाकी एरियाज जो हैं. हमारा जो काम चलता ही रहेगा, बट ये जो चैलेंज था इसको हमने बड़ा सर्जिकल तरीके से नीट एंड क्लीन तरीके से हमने इसको ख़त्म किया. अभी टोटल 4 टेररिस्ट जो है हमने मार गिराए हैं.
Meanwhile, India has reacted sharply to remarks by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights on the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. New Delhi has said that terrorism is the grossest violation of human rights and should be so acknowledged by any impartial and objective observer. India has also asserted that the unrest in the valley has been aggravated by sustained cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan. It is said that the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has received conflicting narratives on the cause for the confrontations in the valley. The MEA has said that there is no comparison between the situation in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Reacting to UN High Commissioner on Human Rights' suggestion that India and Pakistan must grant unconditional access to both sides of the line of control for objective assessment, the MEA said that the situation in the valley was, and I quote, further aggravated by sustained cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan. Terrorism is the grossest violation of human rights and should be so acknowledged by any impartial and objective observer. The high number of casualties sustained by the Indian security forces is a reflection of the tremendous restraint that they have displayed in difficult circumstances, unquote. Pakistan has welcomed the statement made by the High Commissioner for Human Rights at the 33rd session of the Human Rights Council in Geneva. Islamabad has handed over a letter formally inviting the OHCHR team to the Pakistani side of the line of control, but in tandem with a mission to the Indian side. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, with less than 6 months to go before the UP elections, an open war has broken out in the ruling Samajwadi Party. Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav has sacked his uncle and minister in the state government of key ministerial portfolios hours after party supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav made Shivpal Yadav the state unit chief, replacing Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav. Akhilesh Yadav also shunted Chief Secretary Deepak Singhal, considered close to Shivpal, barely 2 months after his appointment. Removed from the PWD and Irrigation Ministries, Shivpal, who is now left with Land Development, Water Resources and Social Welfare Ministries, is likely to resign from the cabinet. No official reason has been cited for the current developments. However, disagreements between Akhilesh and Shivpal have been reported on several occasions in the past. Meanwhile, fissures are surfacing in Bihar's 10-month-old ruling Grand Alliance following war of words between major alliances, the Janata Dal United and the Rashtriya Janata Dal. Now, the third coalition partner, the Congress, has backed Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, reacting sharply to comments against Bihar Chief Minister by RJD leaders. Congress State Chief Ashok Chaudhary told RJD to walk out of the alliance if they are not comfortable in the coalition. The Congress's strong reaction came in the wake of the controversy triggered by RJD Vice President Raghuvansh Prasad Singh's remark against Nitish Kumar, calling him a circumstantial chief minister. While the RJD chief Lalu Prasad played down the controversy, asserting that Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is the leader of the coalition, BJP attacked Nitish Kumar for compromising his ideals to save his chair.
नीतीश कुमार मुख्यमंत्री हैं, उनकी प्रतिष्ठा को, उनके जो ऑरा है उसको ये गिराने का काम महागठबंधन के नेताओं को नहीं करना चाहिए। साहबुद्दीन जी अगर ये कहते हैं कि मेरे नेता लालू प्रसाद है, बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार है, इस बात को मानना पड़ेगा अगर आप इस महागठबंधन के पार्ट हैं तो। एक दूसरे पर बयानबाजी करना, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करना, मैं समझता हूं कि ये गलत मैसेज देता है पार्टी में, जनता के बीच में, और पार्टी में जो नीचे स्तर के जो हमारे वर्कर है उनमें भी बहुत गलत मैसेज आता है।
नीतीश जी महागठबंधन का सबका नेता है, सब साथ हम लोग हैं, और ये रघुवंश सिंह का बात समझ में नहीं आता है।
अपराधी को मदद करने में लगे हुए लोग हैं, तो चाहे एक अपराधी के कारण सरकार गिर जाए या सरकार में इतना बड़ा मतभेद पैदा हो जाए, इन बातों का सवाल जो नीतीश कुमार को देना है। आखिर लालू जी से बातचीत नीतीश जी की होना बंद हो गई है क्या?
There is a Mahagठबंधन for the development and good governance of Bihar. There is a Jungle Raj there itself because the RJD is accusing JDU, JDU is accusing RJD. So both the partners are fighting as if it is a free for all in Bihar.
Well, Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani will be in Delhi on a 2-day visit. He will hold close consultations on key issues with Prime Minister Narendra Modi later today. Afghanistan has been demanding increased defence supplies, including lethal weapons from India, which for the first time gave 4 Mi-25 attack helicopters to the war-torn country last year. India is likely to accede to Kabul's demand for increased military assistance. The MEA has said that the discussions between Ghani and Prime Minister Modi will cover a wide range of matters of mutual respect. Now, apart from holding discussions with Modi, who will also host a lunch in his honour, Ghani, during his working visit, will also interact with the business community and deliver an address at a prominent think tank in New Delhi. Meanwhile, India and China held talks aimed at resolving differences over New Delhi's bid to secure membership of the elite nuclear suppliers group. Nearly 2.5 months after China scuttled India's NSG membership bid, the two countries on Tuesday discussed disarmament and non-proliferation issues with a focus on India's entry into the elite nuclear trade grouping. A Chinese delegation led by Director General of Department of Arms Control Wang Kun met Amandeep Singh Gill, Joint Secretary, Disarmament and International Security in the Ministry of External Affairs. At the end of the meeting, China asserted that the matter has to be resolved multilaterally and not bilaterally, and discussions were candid, pragmatic and substantive. China's consent to hold talks on the subject with India comes after a UN court on 12th July dismissed Chinese territorial claims over large parts of the South China Sea. Well, here's a look now at what else is slated to take place during the course of the day in our segment, The Day Ahead. Meghalaya Governor V. Shanmuganathan will be sworn in as the 20th Governor of Arunachal Pradesh. He has been given the additional charge of the state after Jyoti Prasad Rajkova was dismissed from his post on Monday. The Supreme Court will hear a fresh plea seeking appointment of Lokpal and Lokayuktas at the centre and in states as provided for in the central legislation passed in 2013. The PIL alleges that though the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act of 2013 received presidential assent, the executive has not established the Lokpal. It also seeks a direction to all the states to provide adequate budgetary allocation and essential infrastructure for effective functioning of Lokayuktas. President Pranab Mukherjee will present the Raj Bhasha Awards in various categories on the occasion of Hindi Divas at a function at Rashtrapati Bhavan Auditorium. The Raj Bhasha Awards were instituted by the Raj Bhasha Vibhag, Ministry of Home Affairs, to recognize the excellent contribution of ministries, departments and nationalized banks and others in the field of Hindi. As part of the ongoing Indo-US defense cooperation, a joint military training exercise, Yudh Abbas 2016, would be conducted in the foothills of Himalayas at Chaubatia in Uttarakhand till September 27 under the aegis of Headquarters Central Command. The venture is a series of one of the longest-running joint military training and a major ongoing bilateral defense cooperation endeavor between India and the United States. Well, Visakhapatnam is going to host the third BRICS Urbanization Forum. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu will inaugurate the three-day meet where Union Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu and others are likely to be present. The meet would be attended by around 70 delegates from Brazil, China, Russia and South Africa and over 230 from India. Well, a new ceasefire in Syria brought a full day with no deaths in the war between President Bashar al-Assad and his opponents. 24 hours after the truce took effect, the United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, declared the situation had improved dramatically. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that it had received not a single report of combatants or civilians killed by fighting in any areas covered by the truce. However, aid agencies have not been able to start distributing much-needed assistance. They say they are awaiting guarantees of security from all parties before beginning their deliveries. The ceasefire brokered by the United States and Russia is supported by countries that back Assad and his opponents. The deal marks the second attempt this year to halt a war that has frustrated all peace efforts since fighting began more than 5 years ago.
We have seen, as I said, some reports of sporadic violence, but thus far the arrangement as a whole seems to be holding, and the violence, God bless you, is lower in comparison to previous days and weeks. But as I said, we anticipated an uneven start to the cessation of hostilities.
Trucks are ready for that. And as you know, we conveyed to you publicly what has been announced by the government, that they had given permission. But what is missing still is the famous authorization letters from the government. We are asking them to issue them very quickly.
Well, the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly kicked off on Tuesday at the UN headquarters in New York. The annual high-level gathering of global leaders comes amid North Korea's growing nuclear threat, unprecedented refugee crisis and greater push to ratify the Paris climate deal. The session is the last for Barack Obama as the US President and also the final one for UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon with his 10-year tenure ending in December. Heads of state and government and foreign ministers from 193 nations will descend at the world body's headquarters next week to participate in the high-level general debate which opens on September 20th to highlight their national priorities and global concerns. India will be represented by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, who will address world leaders from the iconic green lectern of the UN General Assembly Hall on September 26th. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will address the general debate on September 21st, and Islamabad has made it clear that he will raise the issue of Kashmir at the multilateral platform. And now news from the Rio Paralympics, where India won another gold medal, and this time in the men's javelin throw. Devendra Jajharia became the first Indian to clinch 2 gold medals at the Paralympics after he broke his own world record to clinch the top honours at the Rio Games. Devendra won gold in the javelin event at the 2004 Athens Paralympics with a record throw of 62.15 meters, becoming only the second gold medalist at the Paralympics for India and improved upon it with an attempt of 63.97 meters. Devendra took India's tally at this edition of the Paralympics to 4 medals. Earlier, Thangavelu Mariappan had struck gold in the men's high jump, while Varun Bhati had secured a bronze in the same event, and Deepa Malik won a silver in the women's shot put event to add to the tally. Well, that's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.